Hey all, Pete here. Saturday night, first day of archery antelope season. I should be out chasing goats around with my bow. But I injured my back a couple weeks ago, and I spent the last couple weeks kind of rehabbing it, and Thursday I felt like I might be ready to get back to my kettlebell workouts. I do a couple kettlebell workouts a week. It's a really good way to stay in shape to exercise the muscle groups that you use when you're doing outdoor activities, because it gets your legs, your core and back, and your shoulders, and those are your performance muscles. And a strong back and core means less injury. But I injured my back doing some work and did a kind of a bit too hard of a workout Thursday. So I'm laying around the house this weekend taking steroids and icing my back, trying to get it better so I can for sure be ready by the first week of October to start trapping coyotes, but also to hopefully get out here in a soon and go after some antelope with my bow. But it's all right. Weekend at home resting is good. It's not going to kill me. I've been through much worse than that. So I thought I'd shoot a couple videos this weekend. I'm looking at my list of videos I wanted to shoot for predator calling, and I'm trying not to duplicate stuff that's already out there, because again, the point of my videos is to help beginners get started. I know some advanced guys are watching my videos, and that's really cool, and I appreciate that very much, and I appreciate the patience and restraint that probably a lot of people have shown in watching my videos, because I know sometimes I mix stuff up and say something that isn't correct because I'm not totally thinking about what I'm saying every time, and I appreciate people not jumping all over me online about that. But looking at my list of predator calling videos, there really aren't a lot of things I can shoot videos on about predator calling out in the field, other than maybe some location stuff, and so you can see an actual location of what I'm kind of looking for, in real time, kind of. I'll do a couple location videos when I'm out bow hunting, because I'll be out where I like to call and in the kind of territory I like to call here in southern Idaho. And when I come up to one of those spots, if it's hot and I need a little break from running around chasing goats, I'll just put my bow in my Jeep and shoot a quick video and kind of show you what I'm talking about. But I want to talk about scouting for locations for calling in this video, just here in my man cave at home. I did a trapping video on scouting for trapping locations, and so some of that same stuff applies, all right? So, driving around and looking for areas to call, you got to make sure that you're on public land or you have permission, right? So can I be here? That's the first question. Can I be here hunting? Is it okay to be here and hunt? And shoot, because just recently they outlawed shooting in this spot across the Snake River Canyon where I live, and it's like a $5,000 fine to shoot out there because a bunch of dumb shits have been shooting out there with no concept of gun safety, and someone got shot, and you want to protect our rights to own guns and shoot, then make sure you educate your kids about how to use firearms and on the 5 standard rules of firearm safety. And the one that people were violating out there was not knowing what's behind their target. They're setting bottles and stuff up on the skyline and shooting them, and you know where that bullet's going to end up. Well, it ended up hitting somebody. So anyway, first thing is make sure, can I be here? Can I hunt here? Can I shoot here, right? There might be places you can be, but not necessarily places you can shoot, or places that you can shoot, but if you don't have permission to hunt there, it's private land, you get in trouble. So use your Onyx app. I love that app, Onyx. It's like $30 a year, and it's going to tell you landowners, who owns the land that you're on. It's a great app. So that's your first question to make sure you answer. Your second question when you're scouting for locations is, are there animals here that I want to call in? So it doesn't do any good. There's lots of stretches of desert in southern Idaho that are just barren because of fires and stuff. And you might get lucky. I mean, even the blind pig finds an acorn, right? And you might get lucky and sit down in one of those spots and get a coyote who's happened to be coming through anyway. But that's not something worth betting on, right? So you want to look for places where those animals are supported by the environment. Coyotes need sagebrush, they need cover, they need food, they need water. They're really good at finding those things in all kinds of places. So, look at, other than the habitat, the sagebrush. I mean, if the habitat's there, then make sure the other things are there that they need, the other resources. And if there's a food supply, mice, rabbits, voles, deer, calves, things like that, then there's a good chance they'll be around. If not, then move on. Okay, so make sure that the environment, the places you want to call, support the animal population you're trying to bring into the call. All right. 3, I say get out there in the spring and summer and find these places, because nothing is worse than being out there. A lot of folks work hard, and I work 4 days a week, long days, 4 days a week. I have 3 days off. If I get a chance to get out and call, I don't want to spend that time figuring out where in the hell I'm going. Like, I might have an idea, but if I don't know the roads and I don't know the locations out there, then it's just driving around till something looks good. And you want to be on your first calling stand about 45 minutes before sunrise. Shooting light in Idaho starts at 30 minutes to sunrise. I like to be out and sat down 15 minutes before it's even legal to shoot, so that I can let the area settle. And those first couple hours of the day and the last hour of the day are the best times to call predators, generally speaking. So now you can call them during the day and stuff too. And if it's foggy and overcast and cold, it's great. In fact, you can call all day long when you've got tons of cloud cover and it's kind of that foggy air that we get in southern Idaho in the desert and the snow in the winter. Great. You can call all day in that. But generally, like early morning up until 10 or 11 in the morning latest, and then going back out, sundown 6, going back out about 4 and call until about 6:30 in some spots. That's the best time to do it. Right at dark is awesome. That's when they start howling anyway, right? So get out there and scout, and try to scout during those times too, if you can. And at night, when you're driving out of an area you've been looking around in, stop every mile or so and get out and blow some howls and see if you can get any coyotes howling. And if they answer, there's coyotes in the area. You know what I mean? So the scouting is early season is real important. Now, what I look for in southern Idaho is a couple things. One, I think about, can I, as I'm scouting, I'm looking, I'm going, where are places I can park and then hike to where I'm going to call, and my Jeep will not be visible to the animals that could potentially come into my call, because they're not going to come if they see your car. And so I'm always looking for like low roads that have hills kind of going up on both sides, so I can park down in a ravine or just down in a low spot, hike up over a couple of hilltops, and then get sat down and call. Okay, so that kind of territory is great, and if you got that kind of territory just all over the place, you don't need to do a ton of scouting. You just want to drive the road a few times and kind of make sure you know how to get in and out, because you could stop in a lot of places and just get up over the hill and call and be all right. Your vehicle will be hidden, right? The second thing after hiding the vehicle is you want to make sure that you have a good avenue of approach to the calling location. There's one place I call that I absolutely love, because there's a low road that goes along kind of a big ravine. It's not a canyon, it's just a big valley. And along this road, there are probably every half mile, there's a wash that kind of goes down towards the valley, and it kind of makes turns. It's curvy. So I can park my Jeep anywhere along by one of those washes, get out, walk in the wash out to my calling location, and come in completely incognito. All right, I'm down low in a low spot walking in. Going up on the hill, over the hills and stuff, sometimes you have to do that, I know, but I'm just telling you, I can hear my dad's voice in my head out hunting. Don't skyline yourself. Don't skyline yourself, especially for elk. Don't skyline yourself. And he added other adjectives in that sentence, but but it's the same goes for any kind of hunting. You don't want to announce your presence to everything. And I mean, sometimes when you're out just hiking around, having fun, it's fun to climb up on top of something and look and see everywhere. But remember, when you do that and you're scouting, everything can see you. And you're walking out to this stand because you're presuming there to be a coyote within range of hearing, okay, and probably sight. So you're going to a place where you think there's a coyote within so many 100 square yards that could hear that call. And if he can hear it, he can pinpoint where it's coming from pretty quick, within about 10 yards, really, of where that sound's coming from. They got really good ears. So assume there's a coyote out there, and you got to sneak in and get sat down without him seeing, and then call him to you so you can shoot him. So assume there's an animal in the area that could potentially see you, and then make your approach based on that assumption. And so if you can find spots where your vehicle is low, it's hidden, and you can approach the calling stand low, in low spots, around, through hills, things like that, that's always a better option. Now, I know sometimes you do have to park low and hop up over a hill. Do it quick. Don't stand up on top of the hill. Hunch down a little bit, crouch down, creep over the hill, and get off the skyline quick. And as you're approaching this place you want to call from, try to keep hills or rock outcroppings or things like that in between you and where you're going, just as further blocking, further way to hide your approach, mask your approach a little bit as you get out there to the stand. Okay, and don't reveal yourself till you absolutely have to. And once you do reveal yourself, plan on getting sat down within a couple seconds. Don't sit down one place and go, oh, I don't really like this, and get up and move. I don't really like this, and forget it. You're not. I've never called something in when I've done that, and I do it sometimes, and I sit there and kick myself. Why did I do that? It's better to sit down in a bad spot than move around and have no chance of something coming in. So, just as soon as you're revealed to the location, sit your butt down and stop moving. Okay. Finally, put your camouflage on at the Jeep, at the truck. Don't slam the doors when you get out. Put your stuff on so you're all camoed up, so you don't have to get out there. Oh, I got to put my jacket on or my face mask and all this moving around shit. That's going to kill you. You could go out and call in Levi's and a shirt if you want, but you just don't move around. Okay. It's good to sit on hillsides and in shadows up against rocks that there's a shadow. Shadow is going to hide way more of your movement than your camo is ever going to hide. Okay. Shadow is going to conceal any shine off your skin, stuff like that. Finally, you want to know what the prevailing wind direction is in your area, and especially when you're out when you're scouting, know what the prevailing wind direction is, because if you're picking spots to go call, then pick ones based on the prevailing wind direction, but always pick a few alternative ones too, just in case the wind isn't doing what it usually does that day. You want to be sitting in a crosswind. I'm just telling you. Coyotes generally are going to try to circle downwind to see if they can smell what's making the sound. And the longer the season goes and the more guys that are doing this nowadays, the more wary the coyotes are getting. And if they smell you, or if they see something move that doesn't make any sense to them, you're done. If they see something shiny, like sun on your skin or on your rifle barrel, you're done. So my rifle barrel is coated. My whole rifle's coated with a dull covering, dull paint. I usually wear contacts when I'm calling, so I have to wear my glasses and worry about them shining. Wear a face covering, gloves, even if it's not cold. I don't want the sun hitting my hands. So you want to, that's why shadows, think about shadows and think about wind. And you want to sit in a crosswind where you can see downwind, whichever way the wind's coming from, you can see that way real good. And I kind of set up facing that way, about like a canted 45 towards the downwind side. All right, that way, that's where most likely I'm going to have my shot come from. If a coyote comes from the upwind side, I have to move a little bit to get on it. But as long as you move slow, you'll be all right. I had a stare down with a coyote one time forever. I was turned this way and he came in over here. And he stopped right on top of this little hill 50 yards away from me, slammed on the brakes and was looking, and I just didn't move. And he finally looked away for a minute, and I turned a little bit, and he looked back real quick, and I didn't move. And he looked away again, and I turned a little bit, and he looked back real quick, and I didn't move. Again, I just held still. And I finally got turned enough, and I dumped him, But if I would have just swung around, it's been over, okay? So let's review. When you're scouting for predator locations to call coyotes, you want to think about these things. And then I'm going to throw one more thing at you here. One, can I hide the vehicle? Okay, first of all, can I be there? Can I hunt there? Can I call there? Can I shoot there? Okay. Two, are there animals there to call in? Does the habitat support the animal I want to call? Three, can I hide the vehicle? Okay, can I hide the vehicle? 4, routes of approach to the calling stands. Are they hidden? Are they low? Are there ravines, washes, things I can walk down to stay out of sight on my way to where I want to call? Okay, if not, can I get over the hill quick and back behind some cover? 4 or 5, I don't know what I'm on. Know the prevailing wind direction so that you can sit in a crosswind. With the wind either going straight back and forth in front of you or quartering one way or the other. Okay? Don't sit with the wind in your face. They're going to come in behind you. Don't sit with the wind behind you. They're going to smell you. They're not going to come. Last thing is being able to see, So you got two options here, okay? Some guys like to call on high points where they can see forever. All right? That's one method of approach. I do that sometimes in some places, okay? Other guys like to call where they don't have they can't see as far, so the coyotes are forced to come like up over a hill, like maybe 75 yards away. There's a little hill, and all the way around them or something, and they're banking on the coyote being brave enough to pop up over that hill to see what's making that sound. All right, and that's more in rolling, rocky, hilly country, kind of like some of the desert country we have out here. I do that kind of calling a lot. And if I know I'm going to be real tight, then I usually just take the shotgun with buckshot, number 4. Because I'm looking at a 60 to 70 yard shot if a coyote comes, and he may be right up on the skyline, and I'm not going to shoot at a coyote on the skyline with a rifle. Now, I might with a shotgun, because it's not going to go much further than that, Anyway, so those are two kinds of ways to think about picking your stands too. Am I wanting to be kind of up high at a vantage point where I can see everything? And those are the ones you want to approach from behind and then sneak around to the front of that lookout and get sat down quick. Don't walk from the bottom up to it and then look. You want to come behind it and get around the front of that cliff or whatever, that rocky high point, and then just get sat down real quick and look. The rolling hills are kind of fun because you can just kind of call one spot. If nothing happens, hop over a couple hills, sit down, call again, and work your way through country that way. And that's a little bit different. Look for calling locations where you can sit in the shadows, whether it's in front of some rocks, in front of a big sagebrush, whatever. And think about orienting yourself facing the downwind side, kind of at a 45, but watching the upwind side, as you call, too. And if you have two guys, that's a lot easier because you could put one a little bit upwind, one a little downwind. I'm going to talk more about how to set it up with two guys, too. Finally, sneaky calling locations. Man, I'm telling you, one of the things I ask myself is, are other people calling here? And I try to find places where people would never think to call, but I know there's coyotes, you know. And these might be places right off of a highway, you know, going through desert country where there's a little wash or something, and you're far enough from the highway that people aren't going to see you. You can hide the vehicle, but no one would ever think of stopping and calling right there. Farm country, you know. Sometimes in southern Idaho, you'll have these islands in the middle of fields that are unfarmable, rock and brush, you know, in the middle of like an alfalfa field or something. And those can make really good spots to call. You got to get out there in the dark and get sat down. And then right as it starts to get light, you start calling. Those coyotes will be out in those fields, especially in the fall after they've been cut, you know, hunting for mice and stuff. And you're in this cover and you're in the natural place that some kind of an animal would be, that they would eat. And those can make really good spots. And no one ever does that I've never met down here. And I love doing that kind of stuff. And I'm pretty successful with coyote and fox on those, right? So thinking about, like, you know, well, this looks like a place a lot of people are probably calling, but what's something close to it that no one would ever think to call, you know? So that's a good thing to keep in mind too. So anyway, there's my scouting for calling locations. I recommend dropping pins in your phone on your Onyx app when you find good spots. Walk out to where you're going to call from and drop a pin, because things look different in the winter than they do in the summer. There's less brush. Things look so if you have that pinned, you can just bring that app up when you get there and just start walking out to, you know, and you'll know exactly where you were wanting to go to call that. So those are some thoughts to get started coyote calling. If you want to watch guys doing this in action, there are lots of YouTube videos. You know, Primo's has a lot of stuff, a lot of coyote calling videos out. Made for Killing, MFK Game Calls has a lot. They're calling back east more in Midwest, so it's not going to look like Idaho, but they call a lot of deep cover stuff. But there's a lot of videos out there on calling that you can watch people doing it. So I don't have the equipment to really shoot a video of while I'm actually calling, so I probably won't shoot any of those, but there are plenty on YouTube already, okay? Happy to answer questions if you post in the comments. I've been calling coyotes since I was 14 years old, so I've been doing it for a long time, and I usually have an average of about a coyote coming in every 3 stands that I make. That's not perfect, it's not fantastic, but it's better than a lot of people do. So anyway, remember, I'm Pete. Leave me comments or questions if you have them. And remember, God is great, guns are good, freedom is precious. See you next time.